Joining us now is James Billot, Newsroom editor at UnHerd. James, it is great to see you again. Can you imagine all the lefty tears we're going to be getting today with the breaking news that Donald Trump is alive? You know, stand by for the meltdowns we are bound to see. It's just crazy that over the weekend there were plenty of stupid Liberals spending their weekend posting on social media that Donald Trump was dead. And we've heard from these psychopaths before, and it should probably go without saying that it's pretty sick to wish for political leaders to be killed. But the fact that this rumour became such a huge social media trend with hundreds of thousands of posts about it is just a pretty good indication of just how insane and extreme some of these woke lefties really are. But it's not just social media trolls. We've also heard from failed vice presidential candidate Tim Walz. He seemed to be pretty excited about this left-wing rumour.
You get up in the morning and you doom scroll through things, and although I will say this, the last few days you woke up thinking there might be news. Just saying. There will be news sometime, just so you know, there will be news.
Yeah, he is the worst. But Donald Trump has responded to the reports today.
Big viral social media trend over the weekend. How did you find out over the weekend that you were dead? You see that?
No.
People didn't see it for a couple days. 1.3 million user engagements as of Saturday morning about your demise.
Really?
I didn't see that.
You know, I have heard, it's sort of crazy, but last week I did numerous news conferences, all successful. They went very well, like this is going very well. And then I didn't do any for 2 days, and they said, there must be something wrong with him. Biden wouldn't do him for months. You wouldn't see him. And nobody ever said there was ever anything wrong with him, and we know he wasn't in the greatest of shape.
Yeah, Donald Trump is absolutely right. But James, can I get your reaction to all of this?
Well, he's not wrong about that. I mean, Biden would disappear for months at a time. And in fact, that was his strategy for most of the 2020 presidential campaign. It was the basement strategy. It was minimal contact with the outside world and minimal contact with the press. And it is a little bit ironic that the left is always jeering and making these snide remarks about the right and their supposed conspiracy theories, when actually this was exactly the example of that. What we saw over the weekend were, as you just showed, Tim Walz going all the way up to the running mate, the president's running mate, to be trucking in these conspiracy theories. And, you know, it's not the first time Tim Walz has done this kind of thing. He also made these bizarre comments about Elon Musk and wishing for Tesla to be in demise, of checking his phone, checking the stock price, hoping it was down. So it's just a very strange moment in American politics when this tribalism is leading to such a point where there's actually not only wishing ill, but wishing death on the rivals. And that just seems bizarre to me.
Yeah, bizarre, pretty sick. Look, also this weekend, thousands of protesters took to the streets in Chicago, the same weekend where more than 50 people were shot and 7 people were killed in the city. And some protesters were captured waving the Mexican flag in opposition to Donald Trump wanting to crack down on crime. James, it's not the first time that we've seen Mexican flags being flown at protests against Donald Trump. What's with that strategy?
No, my colleague Sohrab Ahmari calls it the burrito intifada, and he's doing that a little bit impishly, but I think it speaks to a truth. And the sad thing is that when you have mass immigration and you bring in all these immigrants from all these different cultures and countries, and you don't have time to properly integrate them and assimilate them, this is the kind of thing you see. We saw it in France with the banlieues, especially when France play Algeria or something like that. And you see all these Algerian flags being waved. There has to be some degree of integration with these communities into the American nation. Otherwise, what are they even standing for? It's a strange and jarring sight when you see protesters in America waving another country's flag. And it just begs the obvious point, well, why not go back to that country then? And, you know, I'm sure a lot of these immigrants don't want to do that, but it's a really sad indictment on the state of America's immigration, particularly over the last 4 years, that this kind of thing has been allowed to happen and it's actually been normalized now. And so, yeah, we used to have a situation where left and right would be waving the American flag. You don't tend to see that so much on the left now. There's a lot more shame attached to the flag, and I think it's a really sad sight to see.
Yeah, it's the same situation here in Australia. Look, let's talk about the Democrats at the moment. They're essentially a leaderless party, but that, of course, is going to change. And some Democrats have already begun making moves for the 2028 presidential field. And The Hill has published the top contenders, according to them. And they, of course, include California Governor Gavin Newsom, AOC, Kamala Harris has made the list, Wes Moore, JB Pritzker, and Pete Buttigieg, Josh Shapiro. The list did not include Jasmine Crockett, which is a shame because she's brought out a new accent. Let's take a look at this.
Baby, because these people, they are crazy because they always talk about how Christian they is. Yeah, I don't know how many of them on that side are getting divorced because they getting caught up sleeping with their co-workers, staffers, interns, all the things. Yeah, you ain't got to believe me. Just go Google. You'll find some of it. I'm telling you, and the wives is being messy and petty. They putting it in the divorce. I'm like, ooh, that's got to be true because your lawyer would know that they going to lose it.
It's quite the accent. But listening to that, it of course reminded me of Kamala Harris's accents that she put on everywhere that she went last year, a different accent at a different city. But what's your assessment of the names that were being listed for 2028 and the Democrats?
Well, I can only hope for the Democrats' sake that Jasmine Crockett does not become the face of the new party. You're right, that accent has gone through many different incarnations, the latest of which I found borderline incoherent. I had no idea what she was talking about there. And it's this kind of inauthenticity that voters will just cringe at. And you're right, Kamala Harris did the same thing last year. It's no wonder she didn't win that election. But nature abhors a vacuum, and you're seeing with these leaderless Democrats that no one is really stepping into it. There are some more sensible names on that list, but what's sad to see is that it's people like Gavin Newsom that seem to be really surging at the moment. And the reason he's doing that is by acting as the quote-unquote resistance to Trump, mimicking his style on social media without any actual substance behind it. And my fear, at least for the future of the country, is that Democrats are going to start rallying around these types of figures, basically who can be the most anti-Trump, who can be the most performatively anti-Trump, even in 2028, where he won't even have another term. And it just goes to show how little Democrats have learned from the lessons of 2024 when they keep repeating these same old stupid mistakes over and over again. So I'm feeling pretty pessimistic about the future of that party.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. That was their whole campaign last year and it didn't work. It was constantly calling Donald Trump a dictator. But I want to talk to you about what's happening in the UK, where it appears free speech is pretty much dead. Comedian and co-creator of sitcom Father Ted, Graham Linehan, was arrested at Heathrow Airport on Monday. What was his crime? It was posting on social media. So when he got off the plane, he was met by 5 armed police officers who told him he was being arrested over 3 posts on X where he criticised trans activists. He's now been banned from X. But this is absolutely insane. We also know, of course, that we've spoken about before, this is not an isolated incident in the UK.
No, absolutely not. In fact, it's the last of many. We've had incidents where people have gone to jail over memes being shared on a private WhatsApp group. We've had police investigations into the same subject. And Linehan himself, this is not the first time he's had a police investigation or a police visit. This is a man who has lost his livelihood, his wife, and a lot of his friends from standing up for this cause. And it's just a horrible, horrible state of affairs in Britain at the moment where you're right, free speech, even if it's not dead, is very much on life support. When the fact you need 5 armed police officers to meet a comedic writer for a few offensive tweets just goes to show exactly where this country is heading. And you know, we're now in a place where we do have a real problem with asylum seekers and overflow of illegal immigrants. Why are the resources not being directed in that direction rather than going towards a few mean tweets? It beggars belief.
Well, the Greens Party in the UK are celebrating their new leader, Zach Polansky. And who exactly is he? He's a former actor and hypnotist who has claimed that women could increase their breast sizes with their minds. He's a former Extinction Rebellion activist. He's been arrested at a demonstration in 2019. He's anti-Israel. He said that the whole frame of the migration crisis is, of course, racist and a fascist frame. And of course, as you mentioned, this is while the UK faces a massive migration crisis. Here he is making it completely clear that biological men should have the right to enter a woman's refuge. Take a listen.
Does someone with a penis have a right of entry to a woman's refuge?
Does someone with a penis have a right to entry to a woman's refuge?
However they identify.
Yes, if they identify as a trans person, they've been a trans person for a long time, everyone's comfortable with it, and
You
they're
know as well as I do that most women in that situation, because they're there because of violence towards them, they would not feel comfortable with a biological man, however they show themselves, however they identify themselves, with a penis being in that refuge. You seriously think
Well, the
women would be
return of
happy
that
with
argument is, should we
No,
have...
I don't want the return of the argument.
James, can I get your thoughts on the new leader?
I mean, can you imagine that clip being played 10 years ago or 20 years ago to the general public? They would just think, what on earth is going on here? And 2025 is a pretty weird time to be alive when we're having those kind of conversations. I really thought in the post-BLM era, the post-identity politics era, that we might be escaping from some of this stuff. But clearly on the fringes of the left, this is very much in vogue still. And Polanski, he is a classic watermelon. He's green on the outside and red on the inside. He is a pretty hardcore socialist or left-winger. And in terms of British politics, it's pretty obvious that there's going to be some kind of alliance with his Green Party and Jeremy Corbyn's new party. What that means for the future of the left is anyone's guess, because everyone knows that the revolution always devours itself, and I'm sure there's going to be breakaway factions, there'll be purity tests. I cannot see this really getting off the ground. But again, it's not a good sign for Keir Starmer or Labour, because they are the nominal heads of the left-wing parties. And when that election comes in 2029, and that will come much sooner than people think, the Labour Party is going to be in big, big trouble.
Finally, I've got to get your thoughts on Greta Thunberg. She's back, making her way back, I should say, to Gaza. And as Sky News has revealed that her new flotilla has been organised by a supporter of Iran-backed terror group Hezbollah. Thiago Avila is a coordinator of the Freedom Flotilla Brazil and is a member of the steering committee. And he attended the funeral of Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah. Now, James, last time we saw Greta Thunberg attempt to do this, she was deported. But it seems nothing's going to stop her from going into or attempting to try and go into an active war zone where a terrorist organisation is operating from.
Well, it's not Greta Thunberg anymore. It looks like it's Lord Farquhar with that new haircut. But the facts are, you're right. I mean, how many times does this thing need to happen before it stops? It's the definition of insanity. And, you know, she got deported last time. She got sent away the time before. I don't know what she is trying to accomplish here, and especially from these disreputable sources that she's getting this money from and getting the support from, it is pretty embarrassing. I can't believe I'm about to say this, but I almost miss her pro-environment days. That was clearly a cause she was passionate about, and I don't know what's going on with her in regard to Palestine. So that's where I'm at with this now. And yeah, maybe it'll be like the 16th or 17th flotilla that she'll finally get the message that maybe this isn't the right idea. But for now, she's going to keep on going for it.
No, I'm with you, and I can't believe I'm saying this too. She can bring back the hysterical climate change carry-on that we heard for years and years. James Billot, Newsroom editor at UnHerd, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.